Today's Gossip Corner with Kira Rosen and Samantha Jacobson is brought to you by coffee, the only thing that keeps AP students alive.
Oh my god, can you believe John Reed hit Jane over the head with the book? What a monster.
I know, and Mrs. Reed is so awful. She punished Jane even though it wasn't even her fault. That's child abuse.
Thank God for Bessie, though. If Jane didn't have her, I had no idea what she'd do.
But I think Brocklehurst is the worst of them all. He's a selfish, religious, hypocritical dictator.
Wow, that's kind of harsh.
Not even. He spends all his money on himself and his family but can't even buy the girls food or clothes. What a mess.
Yeah, okay, he's kind of the worst.
I'm really happy for Jane, though. She makes her first friend Helen.
Yes, it's kind of funny how Helen is so forgiving of people who've wronged her, but Jane is the literal opposite.
I know. Even on her deathbed, Helen is optimistic, kind, and accepting of her fate.
I'm glad she had Miss Temple, too.
Yeah, I think it was Miss Temple and Helen's friendship that actually got Jane through Lowood.
You're totally right.
Okay, but despite all her bad treatment, Jane is absolutely killing it as a working woman, as a governess for Adele at Thornfield.
And she's got a man on the horizon, Mr. Rochester, Silver Fox much?
Are you kidding me? Mr. Rochester's the living worst.
What do you mean?
Okay, first of all, he's a man-child who doesn't know how to express his feelings. He has to fake a wedding with Blanche just to make Jane jealous because he can't tell her how he feels like a regular human being. Plus, he didn't feel the need to tell her that he has a violent, crazy wife hidden away before they got married.
Hey man, it's true love, and he didn't want to scare her away.
Okay, but Jane has like a really strong sense of self-worth, and feeling like the other woman in a marriage would absolutely destroy her.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Good thing she got out of there as soon as she found out.
It was a really good thing because after she left, she found her cousins, St. John, Mary, and Diana.
Well, Mary and Diana are awesome, but St. John is, well, the worst.
Yeah, you're right. Can you believe he wanted Jane to marry him and move to India?
Ugh, I know, right? Good thing she refused.
Breaking news! Jane had a mental breakdown due to abuse from her family and got sent to Lowood so that they wouldn't have to deal with her anymore. After graduating, she got a job as a governess for one Mr. Rochester, falling in love with him after he faked his relationship with Miss Blanche. She was going to marry him, but after finding out that all the trouble in the house was being caused by, in fact, Mr. Rochester's wife, she decided to leave to find herself, eventually returning to Mr. Rochester after finding her a fortune and her strength at the Moore House, where she finally married him.
It's Weather Report with your host, Tiana Logie.
It's cold here at Gateshead. Today would be a good day to curl up by the window of your mansion and reading a good book overlooking the garden. At Lowood, it's cold and cloudy and not good for people living in poor housing conditions. Students will have to stay inside their classrooms, no fun at recess today. At Thornfield, we're experiencing nice weather and clear skies, but at the end of the week, we're expecting heavy winds and heavy rains, so watch out for surprises from above. At the Moore's house, the cloudy skies and heavy rains will soon give way to sunnier skies and better days.
It's fire season, folks, and Jane Eyre and Mr. Rochester are feeling the burn. The first incident was when Bertha escaped in the middle of the night and set Mr. Rochester's room on fire. Even with double-locked doors, she still found a way to escape and commit an act of arson. Mr. Rochester, unaware and sleeping, would have died if it wasn't for Jane Eyre. She saved his life by pouring the pitcher of water by his bed onto the roaring flames. This just in, Mr. Mason, an alleged friend of Mr. Rochester, got stabbed and bit on his arm. There are no eyewitnesses to the crime, so there are no suspects at the moment. Jane is on edge trying to figure out who them is. Personally, I feel like Jane is the only one concerned. Here's a story on domestic dispute. Mr. Rochester tries to trick Jane into marrying him by withholding information about his marital status. Trash, 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 trash. Set me on fire once, shame on you. Set me on fire twice, and I should get better locks on my house. Bertha's back at it again with her flaming antics. This time, she succeeded in burning down the Thornfield house, but Mr. Rochester did not get away unharmed. He has third-degree burns on his arms that resulted in amputation, and he lost his eyesight. Nice to meet you, Bertha. Please don't stab me. Okay, did Miss Mr. Rochester not tell me about you? No, I was not made aware of your presence on the 3rd floor. Am I comfortable with the fact that Mr. Rochester already has a wife? Well, I wish he was not betrothed to another because I would love to marry him, and I love him. But even though you were insane, you're still his lawfully wedded wife, and I'd rather not love him and not be with him than to sin with him. What do I have that you do not possess? Well, sanity for one thing, and the ability to love Mr. Rochester fully. Oh, thank you for your time, Bertha.
Viewers, this week we looked at the story of growing up, of love, of maturity, and of finding oneself. Jane started out abused and alone in this world with only a single doll to be her friend. Then, she found Bessie, and then Miss Temple, and next Helen, and eventually she finds herself. It does not matter who you are or how you are treated. You are beautiful, and you can be successful. You can find happiness despite discrimination, despite abuse, despite being wronged over and over and over again. If you love, and you forgive, and you live your life to the best that you could, then you can grow. And grow past all the vice that this world has when you come into it. Eventually, finding a place to belong, not only with others, but also within yourself.